Got it.
Selected. I have the order.
Okay. Can you check once on YouTube if we're live?
Can you send me the link?
Can you check on YouTube if we're live?
Yeah, 1 second.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're live.
Awesome.
There's just a little delay, but we're live.
Now we're never going to know how it is. You are the worst. You are absolutely. I literally just got it.
Hello, everyone.
I'm flirting now.
Hello.
Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you liked this video. It was a little bit different. Thank you to Lily Singh for.
Okay, so we're going to start. Welcome, everyone, to the 4th edition of the Tasveer Open Mic. We're very excited to have you all here. So for those of you who are new here, Tasveer Open Mic is organized by Tasveer, which is a Seattle-based nonprofit arts organization whose mission is to inspire social change through films, art, and storytelling. Like every new venture, we rely on the word of mouth and social media to draw in the crowds. So please spread the word about Tasveer Open Mic in your circle and help us give a voice to South Asian emerging talent. Now that I've said my piece, a few disclaimers from Tasveer as an organization. This event is streaming live on our YouTube channel, and the recorded video will stay in its entirety on our Tasveer YouTube channel as the property of Tasveer. We will not be able to edit anyone out. Your image and video may be used in our newsletter and social media to highlight our work. Tonight's performance may contain some explicit content, for example, swear words, etc. And participants will be chosen in a random order, and each participant gets 7 minutes to perform. Now, our MC for tonight not only is a comedian, but is also the newest member of the Tasveer family and a participant for tonight. So give it up for Jamal Siddiqui, everyone. Okay. I think you're on mute,
You're
Jamal.
on mute.
Terrible way to start hosting the show, huh? Yeah, welcome to the 4th Tasveer Open Mic. I'm your host, Jamal Siddiqui. Like Ishita said, I recently joined Tasveer as an event manager part-time, and I do stand-up comedy outside of work. We have a great show tonight, or evening for some people, or afternoon, or morning, depends where you are. We have a variety of people tonight, from stand-up to singing to true narrative and a couple of readings. Tonight, I'd like to open the show with comedians. So I'm going to change it up a little bit and not go with random order. And the reason I want to start with the comedians tonight is because I want people to have their mics unmuted so you can laugh, even if it's not funny. You know, a confidence booster would be nice. So yeah, so after the comedy, we'll do a singing piece if Varinder is on here, which I don't really see him, so we might skip that. And then we'll go to true narrative and then the readings. So I'll go ahead and kick this off. And, you know, I'm actually turning 34 this year, and aging hasn't really bothered me in the past. I live young, I feel young, but this is the first year where I actually feel like I'm mentally aging. And that's because I'm starting to pay attention to house and decor when I watch TV shows. I mean, that's all I look at. It could be the most gruesome scene, like the cartel has this family tied up in the living room, right? The kids are in the corner. The dad is just getting beaten up, stabbed, blood is squirting everywhere. And I'm just like, that's a lovely royal blue velvet sofa. And it gets even worse, now they have the wife tied up. They're also beating her. They're stabbing her, blood squirting everywhere. And I'm just like, those plants look healthy. They must have south-facing windows. And another reason I know I'm aging is I'm noticing that a pattern with my friends. I'm seeing that those who were once religious are claiming to be not so religious. But I call bullshit because maybe their words have changed, but the meaning's still the same. I had a friend go from saying, Jamal, I'm going to make dua that you get this job, to now saying, Jamal, I'm manifesting that job for you. I've had friends have thusbies in their living room to now having crystals on the bookshelves. I've had friends tell me Allah has a plan for you. Now they tell me, Jamal, your Leo sun moon is rising. And I have never been that religious. Growing up, my mom put me in Sunday school growing up, and the teacher told us, if you're not Muslim, you're going to hell. I came home crying, and I told my mom, I was like, Mom, James, Zach, and Patrick are going to hell because they're not Muslim. She sat me down. She's such a sweet woman. She sat me down and said, Jamal, as long as your heart is in the right place and your intentions are good, you'll go to heaven no matter what religion you are. That is when I realized James, Zach, and Patrick are going to hell because they're shitty ass people. I'm new here to Washington State. I'm from Texas. And what I love is how liberal this state is with marijuana. Because one thing I never understood is why they call weed a gateway drug. They should be saying that alcohol is the gateway drug. Because the thing is, you can get me drunk enough to possibly try meth. I've been eating out for dinner a lot more. I've been slacking on the cooking. And my favorite part about eating out is the check. And it's not so much paying the check, but it's asking for the check. I love hand gestures. This sign is hands down my favorite part. But I've come to realize something. You can mouth anything you want and do this and get away with it. I had a waitress who was so fine, who was nice, who just treated our table so well. And I asked for the check like, and I still got the check. And what also works is, if the service is bad, you can also say,
oh my God.
and that's all I got for today. I'd like to kick it off to the next comedian I have. Is Viradeth Zay Anand. I'm butchering that name probably on the call.
I don't think he's joined.
Okay, so then on deck, up next we have Saloni Nahar.
Yeah,
I hope I said that. Yeah, okay, cool. And you're next, and then on deck is Barinder, but I don't see him up. So up next after is Chandni Lamba.
Okay. So should I get started?
Yep.
Go
Okay,
ahead.
cool. Thank you. Does anybody else here feel personally victimized by Mercury retrograde? No. Is anybody upset that I brought up Mercury? I don't understand people who hate people who like astrology because honestly, it just makes life more fun, right? Like, I'm not asking people to check their horoscope. I'm just asking them to live a little. Like, it's just fun. And actually, what's really funny about my situation is something that can happen during Mercury retrograde is your technology can go haywire. And my laptop just decided to stop working the other day. And if I could paint the scene for you right now, I am literally in a bathroom. This is a shower curtain because I'm not at my house and I don't have a laptop and my iPad was at 2%. So I'm like plugged into a wall because this is my first time doing this mic. And I was like, I gotta like show up. Like I can't just, and also I'm acting in a film this weekend, or I'm acting in something this weekend, and my makeup was done for this futuristic scene. So I had to take off all this makeup. And I'm just so excited, so happy to be here because, I wish, after this, I have to take a photo of what this looks like to me, like all of you guys on my iPad on top of my backpack in this bathroom so that you can all see this later. Cool. So yeah, I mentioned that I am acting in something. 7 months ago, I decided to quit my 9 to 5 and just pursue acting. And what that meant is I actually had to actively, like audition for things and try to become an actor. And if any of you are familiar with the acting scene, Backstage is a website that has a lot of casting calls. So probably earlier this year, I was scrolling on Backstage and I saw a casting call for Champion, the basketball brand. And, they're paying money. So I was like, oh, awesome. You guys can't see me right now. I am under 5 feet tall. So it's not like I'm a baller, but they wanted a video of you playing basketball for the audition. That did not deter me. I like told my roommate and she was like, Saloni, I have a gym membership. We could go to the gym. I could take some videos of you. And I was like, great idea. It didn't work out with the roommate. She was busy. So I went to the gym by myself and I got a 1 week free trial in order to, get there. And all of a sudden this man is walking me around the gym, asking me about my personal fitness goals, asking me like, when was the last time I was in a gym? I was like, I am just trying to advance my acting career on your basketball court. I am not here to use your stair climber machine. So fast forward, I didn't get the Champion gig, but I do still have a gym membership and I went to the gym today. So
Yay.
yeah. Thank you. So I'm gonna end on this. I think whenever I tell people, oh, like I've done stand-up a few times or I'm getting into stand-up, they're like always so like, wow, like that is so brave and like so cool. And I'm not a gatekeeper. So whenever someone makes me laugh or if I think they're genuinely funny, I'm like, hey, have you considered stand-up? And they're like, no, I could never do that. Like, I'm not funny. And I'm like, you just made me laugh. Like, you just have to do that standing up. The classic stand-up joke. And I also feel like stand-up is really not that scary. I'm just ranting about my day. I'm ranting about the fact that I'm in a bathroom and I'm trying to be an actor and Mercury retrograde is like messing with me. This is really free therapy. And it's just a way to get people to listen to you. And I would say predominantly the comedy scene is still white, straight men. And that's who society listens to anyways. So might as well try comedy so that people listen to you. Okay. That's what I have.
Thank you. And I
Thank
forgot to
you.
mention, Saloni's you're living in Chicago. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Mhm.
Okay. I recently moved from Chicago to Seattle. So
You said you were from Texas and you moved to Washington.
I've moved around so much you don't even want to know. Texas, Seattle, DC, Chicago, back to Seattle. So that's for another open mic.
Yeah, let's keep that for another open mic.
Yeah. So okay, up next we have Chudney Lamba, who's visiting Seattle and is going to perform a true narrative called Situational Farce.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Jamal. Just want to give you a brief background. I belong to a small city in Chandigarh, north of India, and I'm visiting family in Seattle because I think after Chandigarh, I just love Seattle. It's got everything that's warm and nice about it that I keep coming back to this place. I was transiting through Chicago. Believe you me, the airport is a nightmare. I wouldn't want to go through that again. Anyway, small thing before I give you my narrative, which is a true incident. I'm basically a ex-banker. I was working for 17 years with a multinational bank. Then I'm a CSR protagonist. I'm an adventurer. I'm a sports person. I hope I don't sound as if I'm bragging. But yeah, there's so much to do and there's such little life left. So here is about my true story. It's called Situational Farce because as I read the end, you'll probably understand why I'm calling it a farce. So here goes. It was a hot weekend afternoon as I drove back home after putting my initials to the first run of my company's annual report. The time, the weather, the location, and the job at hand were completely at odds with the concept of a weekend. But the job just had to be done. So there it was. I awoke to the realization that I had not had lunch and it was 4:30. My stomach was growling. That particular afternoon, I wished I had a restaurant which would serve food in a pool. It was so hot. But I preferred I found something in the city center in a sort of a family cafe, but alone. Preoccupied with my schedule for the following week, I was quite oblivious of the mild tremor my entry caused. I gave my order to a waiter with an unnaturally wide smile, then sat down back and relaxed and became acutely conscious of the fact that I was center stage of the cafe. Walking into a deli restaurant alone is one thing. Sitting down to eat alone is quite another, believe you me. Making an effort to look casual, I took a quick look around. Sure enough, there were eyes and faces
Mr.
angled.
Bear told us that. Tasveer isn't listening.
Sorry,
Can you please mute your mics, everyone?
I thought I had offended somebody.
Please go ahead.
Okay, I'll go back to my earlier bit. So I took a quick look around. Sure enough, there were eyes and faces angled from 30 to 180 degrees looking at me. Some were disapproving, some amazed, some merely quizzical, and of course, others who were waiting for action. Suddenly, I felt quite different, definitely uncomfortable. The very surroundings made me feel that I had committed an unpardonable transgression. Yet it was not late at night. I was not in a shady bylane. And I was not wearing something indiscreet. And incidentally, my looks are not of the order that could cause a flutter. So amazed at the fact that some of these angular glances came from extremely educated looking people. I scribbled in my diary to gain time to get over my discomfort. But before I could sort my thoughts out, a shadow crossed my table. Looking up, I saw a man standing at my table. He wasn't the waiter, and I didn't know him either. He grinned, displaying prominently pan masala stained teeth. I'm sure some of you know pan masala, but I will explain later. And spoke in a very heavy whisper. Myself, Srivastava, working in a government office. Scooter hai, aapko kahin jana ho to. Gathered he was introducing himself and was offering to take me anywhere on his scooter. Aap akeli ho, main bhi. You're alone, and so am I. And then he looked over his shoulder as if waiting for an applause from those seated there. Fortunately, they were looking slantwise, disappointing Mr. Srivastav. He turned back towards me and questioningly raised his eyebrows. I had never believed when friends told me about the latent energy that fills the body in moments of crisis. But it happened. A small voice spoke through me in a snarled whisper. Bahut marungi. It means I will hit you really hard. Mr. Srivastav dwindled like ice in June in India. The food came, and probably for the first time, I looked at every morsel I ate. There was nothing more pleasant to look at. With food in my stomach, I became capable of logical thought. Was it not unfair of the social system to allow Indian women to walk around in skimpy shorts and yet disapprove of a respectably clad woman eating alone in a decent restaurant? What about those women who do not have anyone to go out with, yet long to indulge themselves, or get tired walking around and just need to take a break somewhere? Are we not passing a judgment on the integrity of a woman? A judgment that is never explicitly stated on the basis of a situation. All this I thought of and more. Frankly, had I thought of all this before, maybe, I say maybe, I too would not have gone to that restaurant. As I drank my chilled sweet lassi, I braved the looks further. Some had softened by now, realizing that I was there only for the food. I paid up and left, looking forward to going home, having a bath, and maybe going to see a movie in a theater alone. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Lovely.
Okay. And up next, we have Basuli Deb from New York, and she will be performing a mixed genre reading called Doddering. You're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So, so there is poetry and kind of poetic composition intertwined with a short story, and it's rather than a short story, I would call it a vignette. So it's it's very, very rough, but I just wanted to test it out. Okay, so here it is. Give me 1 second. Okay, here. Alma Dorsher has been my teacher for the last 3 years, but I'm not learning to be a pianist, violinist, or a music composer from her. She has been teaching me the art of parenting the imagination. I learned from her how, since she was 2, her sensibilities were shaped by the melodies of lullabies that her parents had put together on a CD. She had created a whole fairy tale kingdom of musicians in her imagination, a magical orchestra in an enchanted land through time travel. By 4, she could rely on those muses in her imagination to compose her first opera pieces. Alma and I don't have much in common besides our interest in the imagination. She's a British child prodigy, often compared to Mozart, and a world-renowned music composer at 15 who lives in Austria and is deeply invested in classical music. I am a single mother of a 3-year-old girl in the United States, a feminist writer who questions old world values that shape the imagination of little girls. But Alma inspired me to rewrite nursery rhymes and fairy tales for my daughter to reshape her imagination. Last week, I rewrote my child's favorite nursery rhyme. And this is the favorite nursery rhyme. Little Miss Muffet, she sat on a tuffet, eating of curds and whey. There came a little spider who sat down beside her and frightened Miss Muffet away. At bedtime, I told my girl that I wanted to gift her the next stanza of Little Miss Muffet, which I had composed. The friendly little spider now felt like an outsider, seeing Miss Muffet run away. All that the poor creature had wanted to teach her was how to share her way. My girl read and reread the verse. As she sat in her cozy sea green flannel pajamas with bold black checks under the white and olive comforter, the frown of concentration in her little forehead gave way to a zen-like peace. Mama, do you know why the little spider was not afraid of Miss Muffet? She asked. Before I could take a guess about what was in her mind, she quipped, because her spider mama told her not to be afraid of little girls. My girl now began to tell me the rest of the story. Her imagination had been turned on by the friendly little spider who frightened Miss Muffet away. This is her story. That day, the spider mama was teaching her baby spider to hunt food on its own. The first thing she taught her baby was to let go of fear, and the second lesson was to trust its instincts. But the baby spider also took away another lesson. She wanted to be a good teacher like her mama. So when she saw Miss Muffet eating her way, she not only decided to let go of her fear and trust her instincts about the nice Miss Muffet as she eyed her meal and moved toward it with gusto, she also wanted to teach her about sharing. The little spider was surprised that Miss Muffet was unwilling to learn about sharing, but it was even more surprised that as a giant, she was so frightened by a tiny spider. The little spider was disappointed that Miss Muffet's human mama was not a good teacher like her spider mama. She had not taught Miss Muffet to be fearless and trust her instincts about baby insects so much smaller than her. As my girl finished her story with a satisfied beam about her accomplishment, I realized that the spider mama was her hero, and my child had composed a feminist animal story about raising children. Even as a 3-year-old, she understood the different social messages the children have on how they make their way in the world. As I sat with my girl at the Stern Auditorium of Carnegie Hall to usher in the holiday season, I knew that this year-ending gift would make my budding feminist appreciate her own mama as much as she admired the spider mama. I wanted my girl to learn directly from my teacher, Alma Deutscher, about the art of parenting the imagination. As Deutscher explained that both her concertos from her opera Cinderella and her composition for a large orchestra, Siren Sounds Waltz, were about reorganizing our imagination, I could see my girl sit up. Alma Deutscher says, in my opera, Cinderella is a poet. She does not lose a slipper, which I think is kind of silly. She loses a poem. The prince finds the poem and identifies Cinderella as the writer when she's able to complete the lost poem. siren sounds, walls, sounds with the cacophony of police sirens from across the world, which then turns to a melody of peace and harmony. I'm going to stop here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And our last person had dropped out last minute. So I just wanted to open this, open mic to everyone who's in the room. If you feel like performing or asking any questions or talking about anything, feel free to do so. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Chandni.
Thanks. The name is Chandni.
Chandni, sorry.
Yeah. No, that's fine. I think it was a great experience for me. I guess with COVID and with the pandemic, the virtual interactions have had increased. But this is the first instance where I've attended something like this, which I felt is interactive, and yet you can actually feel it. So I think each of the participants did a great job. You could almost feel they're sitting across you. So I just wanted to compliment both Open Mic and everyone who participated. So well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I felt the vibes were very good today.
Yeah.
I want to show you guys the photo. I don't know if you can, because my background's blurred. Oh, you can't see. Wait, let me lower the brightness. So this is the iPad, and that's my backpack. So I just want you guys to see what I see because it's so funny. But maybe I'll email it or something.
Now we sort of want to see what the bathroom looks like.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
I mean, it's your basic bathroom, so I think it's okay.
I'm still in the Tasveer office and the light is censored. So it keeps going off, and that's why I had to get up to turn it back on. But that's all I got going on.
Jamal, we had sensors in our office in the bank as well. So people who used to work late or work overtime, you suddenly saw them sitting very intently working away, and then suddenly they would do this and then back again. It was hilarious because that's the only way. I mean, they couldn't get out from their seats because things were critical, financial world, I guess.
and I actually tried that here because I thought the sensor was
Doesn't work.
close to us, but the
Didn't
sensor's like all the way towards the door.
You didn't try your legs and feet as well?
Yeah. Next time I'll just get up and dance. How about that?
Do that. And I hope we can watch you.
I'll do that for
Your
the next open mic.
performance.
Yeah, a good one. It was great fun. Thank you.
Thank you for attending and giving your reading.
Jamal, I have a question. Like if we have read today, can we sign up for reading another piece, or
you could sign up every week if you want.
Okay.
I mean, sorry, every month.
Every month.
Yeah.
Okay. And another question, I know this is like an open mic, it's not a workshop, but if we have leftover time, can we get, I mean, if anyone wants to, can we get feedback on our writing?
Sure. If anyone wants to give feedback right now, they're more than welcome.
That would be very useful, at least for me.
Oh, can I say something, Basuli?
Yeah.
This is Alka. I'm not keeping my videos off because I'm in my kitchen, and I'm probably not Zoom ready. But I really wanted to congratulate you for this wonderful, extraordinarily original feminist twist to the poem But in particular, the one that is written by or articulated by your daughter, it's amazing.
Yeah, this was in response to a prompt. I was working with the Hollywood cinematographer, and I don't know why we started talking about creative writing, and I was talking about the kind of work I do, and he said, Kaya, can you get out of the world for creative writing? And I said, that's my problem, the kind of work I do. And Alka, the kind of scholarly work I do, which and he said, why don't you pick out a fairy tale and just see what you can do with it? And so I do have to say that, it's yes, the choice of the poem was mine, but he also kind of gave me the idea to work with the fairy tale. So
oh, that's amazing. I mean, and the fact that you got your daughter involved in it, and what a great parenting example that you gave to all of us. My God, it's amazing. And you do such extraordinary scholarly work, and I didn't know about your creative side, so I'm so glad to hear this. And of course, it's lovely to see you too.
Yeah, it's such an opportunity, and thanks to Tasveer and Alka, you've always been so supportive of whenever I have tried to access Tasveer as a venue, as an audience, and this time as a performer. So thanks for the opportunity. And I do want to say I had originally titled the piece Parenting. And, I'm a little conflicted, and this might be a good place for feedback. I titled it Parenting, and then I thought, am I saying that the mother is only responsible for parenting a child? And so then I changed it to daughtering when I filled out the form for because it's also a daughter story. But then now that I read it, I feel it's like the word parenting keeps on popping up, and I don't use the word daughtering, but it is a daughter story. So if anyone has any feedback about navigating this tricky feminist terrain, where I don't want to sound as if I am saying, though it kind of sounds like that at this point, that if a child does something which kind of is symptomatic of her lack of confidence, it's the mother to blame. That's not what, at least my intention is at all. But at the same time, there is a twist to it, because it's like there is a human mama and there is an animal spider mama here. But then what do I do with navigating that? And is daughtering even a title for this story?
I mean, it's such a fascinating idea. I'll have to think about it. Maybe we can talk about it offline.
Yes.
I mean, like, the first thing that I'm thinking about is the D-Trees, How to Raise a Feminist. Why we should all be feminists. And I'm also thinking about Sonora Jha, who wrote this book called How to Raise a Feminist Son. But I also think that there are titles about that's titles such as How to Raise a Feminist Daughter. But I think what you're saying is like how it's like a symbiotic relationship between the mother and the daughter.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to think about it. But I really like your expression, daughtering.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to know to what extent it resonates with people. But maybe you're coming up with something new. So let's talk offline. But it's lovely.
Thank you. Okay.
Of course.
But to that, if anyone wants to meet up and do a writing feedback session, we'll be happy to arrange something where we write and give feedback to each other.
That would be great. I would be very, very interested.
Yes, it would be very, very interesting.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if I may also
go ahead.
Congratulate. I'm sorry, I forget the name of the visitor from Chandigarh.
Chandani.
Chandani.
Yeah.
I loved what you said. My goodness.
Thanks, Alka.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, because I think you're talking about the challenges of a single woman navigating a very masculinist and patriarchal world.
That's right.
And how to deal with that. And it's brilliant. And brilliant not only to have stood your ground, but also to have shaped and changed the perception of the others. That was really good. Yeah. Brilliant work. Loved it.
Thank you so much, Alka. Means a lot.
Of course.
Alka, thank you for all your input today.
It's my pleasure, Jamal. Thanks. Thank you for doing what you're doing. And thank you, Ishita and Rita, for doing what they're all doing.
Absolutely.
Of course.
Okay, so with that, if nobody has anything else, I think we could conclude today's open mic, unless anybody wants to say anything at all.
Yes, I do. I know I'm talking a lot, but
no, talk all you want.
Okay. So, Chandni, do you publish short stories? Like, I just want to know the kind of creative writing profiles that people have in this room.
That's an interesting question, Basuli, because I do write a lot, and what I write about is probably mundane day-to-day stuff. So what I observe, I kind of pen it down, but I always try and give it a humorous twist. So the situational farce was a real hard-hitting, as Alka said, it was a very difficult situation, but that's where I brought in the humorous twist, based probably on my profile and on my personality. Because I feel that if we let anything weigh us down, we'll probably get weighed down. Similarly, I do write, I do a lot of short stories. Some of them have got published and some of them are lying in my shelf. I do write poems also, but those are more, they're very short, they're very emotional. They're like a burst of what you say, either happiness or sadness or melancholy or, again, all situational, how I feel at that moment. It's very cathartic for me to do so. So I do a lot of poems. And some of them I kind of expand into stories as well, because I know the background.
Okay. And you publish from India?
Yes.
Okay.
Mostly.
Okay.
But I'm happy if we can all share emails. I'll ask Ishita to do that. We can create this huge network under Rita and under Tasveer. Why not?
Yeah. Because Tasveer brings in a lot of established writers, but I'm in no way established as a creative writer. I might be established as a scholar. So emerging writers, I consider myself like not even emerging. I think I'm a little bud. So if there are, Tasveer can create platforms for us and, kind of give us those, a kind of community of emerging writers. Not that I don't want to learn from established writers. I'm always trying to learn from them, but people who are at the same stage or, kind of trying to, because I consider my scholarly work, for me, those are two different animals. And for a lot of people, they're not. For me, it is. And I have creative writing friends who've read my creative writing and said they see no connection between, this is a feminist piece, but they see no connection between the scholar and the creative writer, because my language there is so, kind of, it's lush, and they were not expecting that kind of, I'm trying to explore that side, which I want to separate out from my scholarly voice.
You're creative anyway. You've already done it.
Yeah.
You've broken the ceiling. I'm sure everybody here on this forum will agree with that.
Yeah.
The fact that you are here and you've done what you did a little while back, you've already broken that mindset of Why can't scholars be creative?
Yeah, I've published a few pieces. It's just, they're just, it's a whole different situation because, I work in a department where someone just was shortlisted as a Booker Prize nominee, the top 6. I'm no way saying that that's my yardstick at all. But I also know from working in that department that the training route is so different for creative writers, at least in this country. Yeah.
If I could share something, I started reading this book. It's called Big Magic, and it's actually by the same author who wrote Eat, Pray, Love, but it's all about creative living. And she talks a lot about actually like just like creative people, and then also like the vocation versus the, like if it was a career, and how as creatives sometimes like, I don't know, like you feel like you have to struggle or you feel like it has to be your job. And she just touches upon so many things that I think as people who want to do creative work think about and struggle with throughout their entire life. So it's called Big Magic. And I've been like underlining so many things that resonate with me. And I mean, she published Eat, Pray, Love, and that's like what made her big, but like there's so much more to her story before she even got to that point. So yeah, I'd really recommend that book.
Yeah, I've heard some of her interviews, and she's probably an exception, right? Where she used to work as a bartender while she was writing, wasn't it?
Well, so I mean, she kind of talks about how she, she talks about a whole thing about how I think a lot of times as creative people, sometimes we feel like we have to be making like money off of our art in order for it to be valid, or just all the things that make us feel like we're not actually, like we can't even call ourselves a writer if we haven't hit XYZ. So I think, and also, yeah, and the idea of struggle, like the idea of a starving artist, or what does it mean to be some type of way? And I think in her book, she just challenges it all. And yeah, exactly. And just kind of really helps us like center ourselves and allow us to just not feel like a writer looks a certain type of way.
Yeah, I'm going to read Big Magic. Thank you. I've heard her interviews, but reading it will be a whole different experience. Yeah.
I've added it to my list.
Likewise.
Would this be same as The Artist Way that was recommended?
I think that's a different book too, right? I think so.
The Artist Way by Julia Cameron. Everyone highly recommends that. How to become an artist or lead a creative life. Awesome.
Okay. Ishita, I think we're good.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed this open mic.
Thank you all so much for coming. Really enjoyed it.
Thank you for organizing it so well. Thanks.
Thank you. And the discussion session was also great. It was such a learning experience. Thank you so much, everyone.
Okay, have a good night.
You too.
Thank you,
everyone. Bye-bye.
See you next
Take care.
time.
Bye.
Thank you all. Bye.